topic with some members who are from LUCMEF Boya to tell us how budget accountability can actually build trust amongst the people and structures like the councils, yes, municipal and city councils. We are discussing on this topic with Walter Kelechi, who is a project coordinator of one of these projects in LUCMEF being implemented across the southwest.
Yes,
Northwest?
in the southwest.
In the southwest region.
Southwest.
Okay, we're glad to have you, Kelechi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Liu. I'm happy to be here. Our beautiful viewers of my Meeting Prime.
We also are in the company of Anguilla Benedicta Ma, who is a citizen participation officer for the project. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thank you very much for having me in this program.
Okay, and we have Yinda Amira, who is the communication officer for the project. Good evening, Yinda.
Good evening, Mr. Leo, and I'm glad to be here.
And the last panelist for tonight is Herbert Oche Ambesi, who is the founder Touching Lives International. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
To note that all of them are coming from the southwest regional capital, Boya. They left the city of legendary hospitality today. They are here to also talk about local development in under the prism of fiscal transparency and budget accountability. And today is the last day of voting. We are still going to have votes coming from 7 to 8 p.m. We close the voting at 8, and by 9 p.m. we're going to be announcing the credit unions that have received the most votes in Cameroon so far by our viewers. We are going to be starting with you, Mr. Kelechi, who is the project coordinator. What is fiscal transparency and budget accountability?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Liu. Fiscal transparency, it's about the timely the timely presentation of information on how the government receives funds, on revenue, and how it is being spent.
Okay. Fiscal transparency is budget. You receive budget, and you tell the people.
Yes,
you just explained it, but a layman, a mami who is in mile 16 or Muya will want you to really detail explain this concept.
Yes, fiscal transparency, it's a concept that explains how the government manages its resources, the revenue that it receives through taxes, and how it spends this money.
Yes, but now you say how they receive money. How do they receive money? They receive through taxes. For example, the council is an entity, and we are talking about fiscal transparency. Is it, are you telling the people out there that, okay, it is to tell people that this is how much is coming, these are the different methods that we are collecting, and at the end of the day, you tell the people that either quarterly, annually, that this is how much came in, this is, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Now, to add more to what he has said, fiscal transparency rather, it's how well we make use, how the government make use of the revenue. And like you mentioned, the revenue is taken basically or greatly from our taxes. Now, how do they present this document to us? How do they let us know that, okay, this is what has been collected, now this is what we plan to do as per time? I mean, that in every lay person can understand that, because whether we like it or not, all of us do pay taxes directly or indirectly, and definitely someone needs to take the accountability for that. Where do these funds go to? The resources that is being owned by the government, or the resources that is being owned by local authorities, they all belong to us because they are public utilities. Now, how are these resources being managed at the end of the day? So that is the transparency. And of course, transparency transparency forms an integral part of development. Transparency, it's a goal that must, it's like, I would say it's like a human right, it's our right. So you need to know, we bring it back to the layman perspective. Now, if you give your daughter or your son something, or invested something, you want to know how he or she must have spent that. So we are saying that all of us, we formed that body. We have actually, through one of the major ways that the government gets funds or our communities are being run is through our taxes. Now, how has these taxes been managed successfully? What needs to be done per time? Is it on a yearly basis? We only understand that on a yearly basis, budget comes out, which is very important. So we now take the responsibility to know that, hey, I did X, Y, Z. Now this is the outcome of it. So I think that's just the transparency we are trying to make. Let's not bring grammar, let's make everyone to understand. And now, before I give you back the floor, just to let the viewers know that we all do have the responsibility to make this budget work, and this project has it as a responsibility to build trust to the citizens, to understand that they too have a role to play. And we still remind the viewers to also understand that this project is being funded by the US Embassy in Cameroon, and we are just implementing partner. But the goal at the end of the day is that the citizens should get this trust in your responsibility towards creating the asset or the revenue that we are generally enjoying. They always say government is a people, right? So this is what we have done. Okay. Now, what is happening to it? We all need to know.
Yes, is it very important to have the fiscal and budget being transferred? Is it very important to have the budget made known to the people and also render account from time to time?
Exactly, Mr. Leo, to buttress what Ina, first of all, and Mr. Kelechi have said, when we're talking of fiscal transparency, it's about how accessible this information is to the citizens.
Okay.
Now, because there are two parties that are involved. There is the government, which collects the funds and makes use of the fund, and there are the citizens that provide the funds. So at the end of the day, these citizens need this information. So there are two parties that need this information. The first, the government. When there's enough accountability, people are able to give feedback to the government on what is on ground, and it now helps the government to plan the activities for the year. Also, when there is that accountability, it makes it possible for the citizens to have trust in the decisions that the government has made. So without fiscal transparency, without budget accountability, it becomes difficult. Citizens don't take ownership of the decisions of the government, the choices of the government, and it becomes a little bit difficult for them to participate in development.
Yes, but why is it important? This fiscal transparency and budget accountability.
It's very, very important because citizens deserve an explanation from the government on how their hard-earned money is used. You know, whether or not you are aware, you pay taxes directly or indirectly, and we know that tax revenue is one of the main sources of income to the government annually. So if citizens are given this money, they deserve an account as to how this money is being used. They should be able to get the government to respond and tell them that, okay, this is how the funds that we collected from you for 2022 have been used. And they can also detect and say, okay, these are our priority areas for the year 2023. So it is essential.
Yeah, but does it not also smoothen or facilitates comprehension between the people and the instance, be it the government or the council? That is because people are aware of the way money is being used. They can even give more.
Absolutely.
Exactly, exactly. That's the point. There are so many citizens who complain about how money is used. They'll say, okay, taxes are increasing, the cost of living is increasing, but they are really not aware that there are mechanisms for them to hold the government accountable, and that's why we are here today. So it is one of the things, it facilitates the smooth running of the economy, because, okay, the citizen at the hinterland knows that, okay, before the local council took a decision, I was involved. I'm a taxi driver, for instance. I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying I'm the taxi driver, but a taxi driver says, okay, our union president was involved in the decisions when it comes to planning the budget for the local council. So they will happily implement the decision, and when need be, they can always give more. Citizens don't resist taxation because of the high cost, but because of the communication or because of their integration in the decision making. If they are able to understand, if they're able to comprehend and say, okay, this is why there's this increase, then definitely there will be no resistance when it comes to the implementation.
And just to also add up that when we're talking about fiscal transparency, we're looking at the publication of information on how the government itself raises those funds. So we're not laying emphasis today on only how it is being spent or it's being managed. It's also how the raise. So it's very important for us to also understand how the raise, maybe if they get it through taxi or maybe through foreign aid or all of that, it's also supposed to be made public. How is it being raised before? Because if you can't spend what you don't know how it's being raised. So when you know how it's being raised, you now know how to spend it, and then you now be able to manage so that you'll be able to get more maybe in due time, or to be able to allocate it properly, or be able to collect more. Or you want to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, actually, when you look at the importance of fiscal transparency and budget accountability, you look at what it brings to the state.
Absolutely.
It brings trust and economic stability. It creates more investors to come into the nation, because you know what investors want to see in our nation is that they want to find out what you have, how do you manage it, how are you accountable. How do you make your population, your citizens, know that, okay, we had this amount, you know, for the fiscal year, and it was used like this, and this is the account of how it was used and how it was spent. So it brings a lot of trust, it brings a lot of confidence, it builds this confidence and trust in the minds and the hearts of the citizens, and as such they get involved in all development initiatives. And that's one of the key importance why fiscal transparency is very, very important for us to see significant development at the local level, even at the national level. That's why this project fits in correctly within the framework of fostering development in our local community.
Okay.
And yes, and I just want to give a picture of what the project is all about. You know, we started and we got directly into the context of what we're discussing. It's good to let our viewers understand what we are doing and what we intend to achieve and how do we intend to do that. Like it's all about citizens' leadership for budget transparency and local governance. And the whole idea is to have a maximum development impact. And of course, we need to know who are we targeting, who are those that we want to use, you know, want to work with in order to promote this this transparency, in order to advocate for this budget accountability. And within the framework of our project, we will be working with civil society organization. Mr. Leo, you have to, I want our viewers to understand that more than 55,000 organizations have been registered under the state, you know, to operate, but about 10% of these organizations are into local governance, are interested into development. And of course, if LookMEF want to improve or increase the level its coverage, it cannot do it because we may not have enough resources, enough personnel, enough to cover that, but we need to work with other partners, and of such we will have to build the capacity, train many more civil societies in order to engage in this transfer. Also, we need to also understand that we have budget actors and have people who are involved, like the traditional leaders, which we also need to build their capacity. One more thing we've observed is that we understand that we are in a digital age, and in order to create, we will discover that we have more than 10 million internet users in Cameroon. And this is huge. This is huge in terms of coverage. Now, we want to exploit this. We want to make use of this digital system that we are having, because of this digital system, our world becomes more and more like a village, and we get closer to our authorities, and we hold them accountable in terms of what. Therefore, the project will bring in a digital platform through which citizens can have access to information, you know, and also build the capacity of many how to access this platform and also disseminate information and have access to information on the budget, how it was prepared, and how it was spent.
Okay. Greetings to you all in the studio. I think the model of fiscal transparency is not only the capability of citizens to take the government accountable, but also to ensure that incomes raised by government are used for the welfare of the whole population first, and secondly, that the wealth is redistributed in an equitable manner. I'm really interested by this program of the USA Embassy. How can I be part of it? Hans Cabral Monono writing there. I vote for Kumbatown Cooperative Credit Union, code COAL. Okay, these are for the votes of the best credit union for the week. Voters' choice, our viewers' choice. I vote for Alu Credit Union as the best credit union. Nke Malo Gertrude writing from Moyuka. I vote Aziri Credit Union as the best credit union in Cameroon. Ngo Mosoro Timothy writing from Efulan Yaoundé. Good evening, sir. I'm Madame Siri from Bamenda. Thank you for this opportunity for me to express my feelings. My best credit union is Mbengui Central Cooperative Credit Union. Bekul, okay. I vote for Alukul as the best credit union from Chesami Rita. Okay. Greetings, sir. Mr. John from Bamenda. My best credit union so far is Mbengui Central Cooperative Credit Union. Good evening, sir. I vote for Alukol. Bangwa David from Bamenda. Now, what specifically are the things citizens should look out at to know whether or not the government is transparent?
There are several things that citizens can actually look at if actually the government is transparent. As per the 2019 law of the General Code on Local and Regional Authorities, this code, it does make provision that information should be posted, the budget should be posted, the performance report for the past year has to be posted, the administrative account report, it has to be posted. So if all those information are posted, then we can say transparency is actually in play.
Okay. Once they cannot show?
Once they don't put that information to the public, it means they are bringing that information closer to the public. Like you can sit in your house and just go to their website, the council's website, and you see the budget for that year, for the past year. You see the budget is online.
But income expenditure.
But the government has made it clear that they should post it. It means they have to provide that resources for that information to be made public.
What resources do you need to make information public? You have the computers, you have the website. Why not just post it there? What resources do you need to put the information out there?
I don't know why the information is not out there, because if you go on the internet and you browse, most of our councils, our local councils, they don't have a website. Some of it is not functional, some of it is not updated, some of which their developmental plan is not there, their budget is not there. If you don't have a website, then how then do you post that information?
Yeah, but is it all about just posting the income and expenditure?
Oh yes.
Of the budget?
Yes, Mr. Leo, let me just step in here. Like we all made it clear here at this platform that fiscal transparency has to do with the timeliness, the quality of information that is made available for the consumption of the public. Now, how do we know that the government or the development actors, whether at the urban level or at the subdivisional level, how do we know that they are transparent? It's when we check if these informations are available at all levels, at the social medias, at the platforms that are supposed to be there, that the law states that it's supposed to be there. Firstly, it has to be online. We're at our website. We have websites that each council is supposed to have its website where it publishes information, and it is expected that once the budget has been voted, it needs to be made public. It needs to be put outside there for consumption. But once this is not put in place, then it shows that these people are not as transparent as they ought to be, because probably there are things that they don't want the general public to know. Also, for you to know that the government or the states or development actors at all levels, it could be even community development settings, it's when they present, they have midterm review, they have program, they have organized meetings and present what they received from the beginning of the year and what they plan to do and what was executed. So generally, when all this is put in place, then we can say that we are on that path, of being transparent, being open to our people, which we are called upon, to be responsive. We are called upon to serve as leaders. Yes,
but aside that, if we cannot put this information in our website, what stops either the government or the councils to organize monthly briefings, press briefings to the population? Or you call, each council has municipal councillors from the respective quarters that make up the town. Take the case of Boya, you have municipal councillors. What stops them from time to time updating the population about what is happening?
That's a technical question. I was supposed to add that another way that the budgets could be made transparent or known to the citizen. Remember that when we talk about transparency, it comes as a citizen's window to hold the government accountable for its funds. And the best way to do that, or the other way to do that, is actually to have what you just mentioned, the briefings with media, because the media happens to be, like it's often said in code, is the third arm of the government. So that is people, the fourth arm, thank you. So the complete trust, people have complete trust in the media, and the best way to get this information as well is to hold those briefings and at the press conference regularly, letting people to also know the state at which it is gone. But then what accounts for it? This one, maybe it's not in the confine of the project, but I just want to think that when we are ignorant at all levels, at the level of maybe the persons who are operating, who are supposed to make this accountability or this budget transparency, if they feel, guess the law says they are supposed to do that. But now, when you work with people that you are supposed to be accountable to, but you know in your mind that they don't know that you should do that, it's technical. They don't know that you should do that. So definitely do not do it, because you don't even know that as a citizen it is your right to understand how funds or public resources are being handled, are being managed. So at the end of the day, if you don't know and I know, so I'm actually stealing your right. So I think that is the greatest thing, because the law has already stated they should make it known for the citizens to be aware. And if they are not doing it, I will not say they are ignorant of it. They are aware of it, but because we the citizens are not aware of our own rights to get access to these public resources, then they won't be able to do it. I mean, there is a particular word that in the human rights that is being referred to according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I just cannot put a finger on it. So this program is coming now at a time to let us know that it is our right, it is our responsibility. And the media now, because we're using the media, is also going further to sensitize. Everyone is watching now. It's a fair game. So we the citizens are watching, we the local authorities are watching, those that are in these the responsible for the transparency are watching. So when every party is aware of their role, then no one is being, in quote, cheated.
Okay, everybody is aware, and that if the council or the nation is not actually being given this information, is it not also because of our passivity as population?
That if they are not giving us this...
Yes, because the law says they should.
Yes.
And for a very long time, nobody does. Is it not because we are too passive? We are not interested in even wanting to know what is done with our money?
Very terrible, and that's why we are saying that, because we the citizens are not even aware. So it's a whole full plate of food. We are not aware. Perhaps they are aware. They know that we are not aware. So but now that it's opened, we are now aware. So we can actually at every level to hold accountability. Maybe me as an individual cannot go, but the councillors are there. The civil society organizations are there, because there are a lot of organizations who are also there to see that there's transparency. The media now can also hold them accountable and all of that. So now that there are people to hold them accountable, that means they're putting everyone on point to also play their own role. So we too are also agree with you on the other hand, that we too are passive, because perhaps there are some conscious citizens that are also aware of the fact that they are supposed to get awareness of how their funds are being, or public resources are being managed or handled, but they do not.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Josephine writing from Bamenda. I vote for Azeri Cooperative Credit Union. Good evening, Mr. Liu. And the House, I really love this program. If the government should explain how budget is being used in the country, you see that 80% of the project in our country is being kept for personal purpose, while 20% manage the whole country. Sam
Exactly.
From Kribi manage the English, please. Yes.
Oh, yes. I just want to thank the person that just wrote, Mr. Sam. And the truth is that most of the projects in our country, they don't really get to the intended beneficiaries because of these aspects of lack of transparency, lack of accountability, and as such, the grassroots population, they suffer. They suffer because what was meant to build to increase their life, their mode of life, and better their stay, it's not met because there's a lot of things going on at the level of the state, at the level of the local authorities. They are not accountable. They are not transparent enough. As such, people don't benefit. The local population, the grassroots person really don't benefit.
The grassroots person does not benefit. Nsungkikang Ewane from Obala says, Lukol is my best credit union. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I vote for Azikol as my best credit union in Bamenda, Cameroon. My best credit union is Menka Green Valley Cooperative Credit Union. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. I think fiscal transparency and budget accountability is what we really need in Cameroon. The government is supposed to be accountable to its citizens, and the citizens are supposed to hold them responsible. Do the citizens even aware of these rights, and even they know what are the channels put in place that the general public can be able to hold the government accountable, and by who? I think the greatest problem of our nation is leadership. I vote for Fundang Credit Union. Now, if the layman does not know, communities have persons we call opinion leaders.
Exactly.
We have traditional leaders. We have such persons, and these projects are being implemented in their respective communities.
Exactly.
If the common man cannot hold either the government or council, what are these guys doing? Are they also not aware of their right to bring these institutions to explain and account for the resources put under their charge?
I think everything boils down to awareness. Awareness is fundamental to citizens participating to ensure that the government is accountable. Why I say it's fundamental to awareness is because there are several international frameworks that mandate the government to be accountable. We have, for instance, we have International Monetary Fund. They do have a transparency code which the government is, partner countries are expected to respect. We have other organizations, for instance, we also have International Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, which also talks about how reporting should be done. But then citizens, and number one, they are not aware that there are these regulations or there are these legislations that mandate the government to report to them. Secondly, they are also ignorant of the different mechanisms to which they can be able to hold the government accountable. Yes. Let's take, for instance, they can be able to pressure the government through domestic organizations or domestic associations. We have trade unions and the like, which can be used as a way to influence. We have international organizations, for instance. We have Oxfam, we have Transparency International. By participating in the activities of these organizations, they can be able to influence the government.
Yes, I just want to step in also again. Looking at awareness and citizens' participation, these are two fundamentals that we need to understand clearly.
Exactly.
And we understand that most of our citizens really don't know their roles and responsibilities, they don't know their rights, and as such, they don't care on what is happening at the local level. They don't care to even to understand or to participate. And it's because at the level of the local level, most people don't share information. And we understand that there are people who are responsible to bring this information. We have the councillors who represent their community, who represent a certain entity, and they have the mandate, they have the responsibility to get information and relate it to the grassroots population, relate it to the persons with the community. And if they fail to do that, of course, the community, the persons at the level of the community will not be aware, will not get appropriate information of what is happening in their respective local government and the local development committees. Therefore, it is their responsibility to disseminate this information. And also, people need to participate. Our citizens need to participate in programs in order to make their voices to be heard. Because when you don't participate, you may have brilliant ideas, you may have, ideas that will lead to change of influence, change of policies, but when you stay behind and you don't participate, of course, you observe that we'll be seeing what we are seeing today, that projects, programs don't meet the needs, are not a reflection of local realities. So that's what we are experiencing in our community today, in our subdivisional areas as well as our country.
Okay, Mr. Leo, good evening. Let them start by asking Elections Cameroon how it is possible that 1.5 million people out of almost 30 million can elect a president. Let them help Elecam to build confidence in Cameroon electoral process. Okay. This one says Bamenda Credit Union is the best credit union. Actually, Cooperative Credit Union is the best credit union. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Dr. Folem Joseph. I vote for Baile Credit Union. Okay. Now, who is responsible for fiscal transparency and budget accountability?
To me, I'll say everybody is responsible. I'll start especially with our local councils. I'll start with the ministries, Minfi and Mindevel. I'll start with the two of them. Because this report, the budget, the drafts, and the draft which goes through approval is sent to the ministries for them to verify. So they have to hold those local authorities accountable, since they have to verify if actually what they forecast to do is what they are actually implementing. And I'll equally say the state representative that has to approve the budget, that has to approve the administrative account session, that has to approve all those things. They have that responsibility to make sure that everything is fiscally transparent. And most of all, our councillors, those are the people that, to me, they should be held, responsible to educate the population, to make the population understand that that information needs to be disseminated to them. That information, even if they don't receive it through the internet, they can visit their councils and demand for those documents to actually see if actually what was forecast and voted and approved by the state is what is actually being implemented.
I'll add to that point by saying that there is an irony when it comes to this accountability issue, and it's that citizens want to hold the government accountable when they haven't implemented it in their own institutions. If you're in a company, you should be asking yourself, do we declare our taxes the way we should, or we conceal some of our revenues? So if we should institutionalize it. It should be something that it does not only hit on the government, but it also hits on the private sector. So it's a two-way something. Primarily, we have the government that provides us that provides a framework so that it's implemented right down to the local levels. So they have to ensure that all the respective government organizations at the local level are giving out information on how revenues are received and spent the way they should. And then we now also have the citizens through the various mediums. We have, for instance, civil society organizations like LUGME, for instance, which now have to pressure this government to ensure that this information is made available. But like I said, there's an irony.
Yeah, but when you look at the population, are they even aware? Do they even care? Because these budgets are voted at the national, municipal, regional levels, and most of them are not executed to the satisfaction of many persons by their assessment. But most of the municipal councillors are voted. You have some of them who have been municipal councillors for 10 years, voted by the same persons. Do they actually care about how these budgets are executed?
I think the core issue is that the citizens, first of all, don't understand the process by which these budgets are adopted. Because there is a budget formulation process, for instance, or there's a process, there's a cycle that budgeting follows. We have the formulation, and this formulation is done by the executive, that is those who are implementing government decisions. So before these, all the budgets are formulated, there needs to be a consultation of all the respective stakeholders. And I would say that in the past, we could look at budgeting as a top-down approach, but in recent times it's a bottom-top approach. So they have the possibility to influence the decisions that are taken right at the top by the legislative. So starting at the local council level, they have to they have the prerogative to make known their how do I put it, their aspirations to the local councillors who take part in decision making at the communal level. When it comes to, let's say, the parliament, they also have a representative from their community in the parliament who is capable of transmitting the information that comes from the citizens. So I think that if they are aware of these mechanisms, they are aware that those who take the decisions are representatives from their communities, they can make their points known, and they are going to be considered in decision making.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I really want our viewers to understand this basic information we are sharing on who is accountable, who is responsible in terms of fiscal transparency and budget accountability. It has to be from the two ends, at the level of the states. Not so they are to be they are accountable. They are to be held responsible for transparency and budget accountability, because it is within their framework. It is their mandate to give information to its population on how resources are used and how they are, evenly distributed. Therefore, they are the one. On the other hand, the local population also have the right, have the responsibility to equally go in and get to ask for this information. They don't sit at their houses, sit at the comfort of their homes, and things will happen the way they want it to happen. Exactly. They need to get to another level in order to get this information, in order to hold the elected persons accountable.
Why are they not even interested? Because if you are in a community where you have a municipal councillor who would not render account to you on how the budget being executed, you have an MP and a host of others who are there without telling you how monies or resources are being used both at the national and the municipal levels. why should you still send them to represent you? Because it's like sending somebody, a child, to school who will never present his or her report card to you.
What I would say with regards to that is citizens need to be aware that once you fail in your duty to vote, you also fail, you miss your right to complain.
Accountability.
Yes, you miss your right to complain. Because it doesn't suffice to complain, talk about the government on the media. You, like Mr. Kelechi said, you have the responsibility to go to these persons and to demand. You either vote with your hand or you vote with your feet. That is, if those, your councillor, if your municipal, the parliamentarian from your constituency, you think he or she is not representing your community well, you put him there and you can bring that person down. So you can pressure them to take decisions that are in favor of the community. The citizens have the power.
Yes, yes, sir, but I think, just to cue in what you just said, I think our municipal councillors have the responsibility, which is within their mandate, to disseminate information to the people who vote them, the people who are they accountable to. So now when they fail to do that, it affects their area, it affects even development within those community. Therefore, it is their responsibility. When they attend sessions and decisions are made, they have to take this information and now at the quarter level, at the community level, organize meetings, organize programs, and inform the people. This is what was made, this is what was decided, and this is what is coming to our community. And one of the problems we have that we've observed is that most of our municipal councillors, permit me to say that they are still to, their capacity are still to be built in understanding their mandate, understanding what they are called upon. I think most of them are still missing out in this. And I believe that also it's about the willingness, it's about the passion, it's about the desire you have, to see positive change at the level of your community, positive change, to seek growth, and what we are seeing today is that you see municipal councillors who are, living in, probably in the far north, in Yaoundé, and their councillors in Boya.
Okay.
That does not really, help in any way.
The parliamentarians that represent the local communities in the parliament are feeding fat in Yaoundé instead of representing and creating awareness and being accountable to the people. In that, speaking in simple terms, who owes transparency to who, and who in the accountability framework does the reporting and who seeks the information? Okay, who owes transparency obligation to who?
Those in charge of governance owe it to those they govern. So primarily, if anything else, the government, the state, owes the accountability to the citizens. Like I mentioned earlier, tax revenue or fiscal revenue is one of the main sources of government income, which is used to run government affairs. And this is collected from the citizens through taxes which are levied. So the government has the responsibility to ensure that the citizens are informed on how this is going to be collected and how it is going to be spent. And at the end of the process, the citizens have also to receive information from them. Okay, this is what was attained, and this is what wasn't attained, and this is why.
Okay.
Yes.
Who in the accountability framework does the reporting and who seeks the information? The population should seek information, and then those in authority should render accountability.
Exactly.
But we also in the situation where we find ourselves because of the clear absence of the spirit of accountability, the culture of accountability that is not in us, especially persons who are given leadership responsibilities without necessary leadership skills. They are not called to be leaders.
Yes, I think so. Like I mentioned earlier, there's an irony in it because people hold the government responsible, but the question is, if you're not doing it in your private institution, what happens when you get into government? Let me take, for instance, the IMF framework. It talks about not just about how reporting is done. It talks about how the forecasting and the budgeting is done. you have to ask the question: how inclusive is it? How open is the process? Do people have an opportunity to come and participate? Yes, we also talk about how the revenue is being used. So you ask the question, when it comes, let's take for instance, public purchases, how they buy, acquisition of is done in the government, or how contracts are executed. Is it that all contractors are asked to tender bills and then they pick the best, or people give to their family members? If there is a given end of corruption, if there's a given end of fraud, and there is no receiving end, then it cannot take place. So I think it's a culture that's inherent, and it takes more than just holding the government accountable. It has to do with every single individual in the country holding himself responsible for accountability.
Okay.
Let me come in this time around. I also want to make us to understand that as much as the government or the budgets are supposed to be presented or be transparent, there is also an organized ministry, I think it's called the Supreme State of Audit, who also have that responsibility to see that even what is being sent out to us, they meet international standards.
Exactly.
We understand that one of the loopholes is the aspect of embezzlement, there's the aspect of laxity, corruption, and all of that has been able to limit us getting the proper or getting access to budget or fiscal transparency or accountability. We will not be able to. This question has been going around. Let's let the cat out of the bag. So those are some of the loopholes that actually make it challenging for citizens to actually get exactly how the public resources are being managed or handled. I talked corruption, I talked laxity generally in the whole system. So we're going around, but that is some of the facts that I can bring. So the persons who hold clearly accountable, there is an audit that is being done on a yearly basis by the Ministry of Supreme State Audit. And absolutely, and that particular ministry should also have that responsibility to ensure that all of this thing is properly done, and we, the persons, they should ensure that the people involved make that report available for us. And I think that is it. So we take it from a higher level, because a normal citizen will be asking that who is accountable and who is responsible. We agree all of it, that all of us are responsible towards that, because we have our role, and maybe through the CSO or whatever, and the government also have their role. So it is a midway. Everyone has their role. Now that we're creating the awareness, we all know that we have our role. So how do we come to ensure that you as the IMF, you as the from global, there is this gift global something too for fiscal transparency, all the bodies involved, now we are aware, how do we all put our hands on deck to ensure that we're able to get exactly what we want for the benefit of all of us. Now, if we have to be able to get strong institutions, if we have to get to sustainability of our nation, if we need to get to achieve the sustainable development goals, we should understand that one of the things we should bring is peace, is justice, and strong institution, which is goal 16. And one of the things we should also do is that we should also partner for the goal, which is goal 17. And for us to do that means that each and every one of us have a responsibility to play. I am partnering to ensure that we have the sustainability through taking my own responsibility as a citizen, and the local authorities or the authorities that are involved are also playing their part. Now, if we keep going hovering round and round and not playing our part, at the end of the day, it means that we do not really want to have a sustainable world. And I think human development is a responsibility of everyone. Everyone to want to live up to their fullest potentials. Everyone wants to also enjoy the goodies that is all comes around. Everyone wants to get good road, water, and all of that, which are some of the ways in which our taxes are being used. But I was expecting a smart viewer to ask me that, but the ones that have been collected, how has it been used? So those are some of them. I'm just highlighting that the road we're moving on, the public utilities that we enjoyed, the water that we drink, the good electricity, somehow someone said it's been subsidized. So that's how we generally enjoy our taxes that are and being used. And I'll consciously say that as an individual, wherever you invest your money into something, you definitely want to ensure that that thing is being expressed to its latter. You want to ensure that you see the end of your money. So I mean, taxes are our money, which is, we've already highlighted during the beginning of this program, that's the main source of the budget, or the resources that the government uses to beautify our nation or to bring about human development. So we've already identified. So if we know that we have paid taxes directly or indirectly, it charges our spirit that we should know exactly how this is being spent at the end of the day. So it is our property, it is our thing. So when you are moving on the road, that's why it's a public road, no one stops you, because somewhat, whether you like it or not, you contributed towards that.
Okay.
So you own it as well. So we all own. That's why a public thing is not owned by an individual, it's owned by everyone. Why? Because we all contributed. So if we have that mindset, because this program is a reawakening, is bringing our consciousness, bringing our mind, each and every one of us, to understand that these are our things, these are our money that we have invested. Let me use money we have invested, and if I invest something, I should know where it is being taken to.
Okay.
And if someone has given me something, I should also be accountable to use it properly. So at the end of the day, I'll be able to give an account for it. So if all of us get this understanding, it is going to be better off. And we look at the aspect of improved decision making. Look at the aspect of us getting and building that trust, loving our country. I love this aspect of goodwill. So I did a lot of accounting, and there is this aspect of goodwill that comes.
Okay.
You speak good of your nation, you speak healthy of your nation. As a Christian that I am, I know when you keep saying good words, you keep loving something, I mean, it keeps giving you back that same energy that
Okay.
you give. So if you keep having this whole idea and loving what our nation is bringing onto us, we keep carrying this goodwill for our nation, and we keep giving this good this conscious, or this good I don't know the best word to put, but we keep just about the goodwill. Yes, I'm struggling to break it down so everybody can understand what goodwill is. So when we get this vibe, then at the end of the day, we are actually breeding something positive for the nation, and it works for us.
Okay. Mr. Liu, we are talking in a situation where 5% elect the president. Can that president ever deliver for 50% of the population? First, only 7% cares about what is going on with the government settings, and the government knows that is why they will not bother to be accountable. This is because only 7% of the population can ask questions, and that can easily answered with bread and sardine. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to intercept just before I take the next. So exactly what he's saying, the 7%, like he mentioned, it could even be 1%, but we're saying that after the edition of the program, we want it to increase to 90%, and why not 100%?
Okay.
So if we also are not conscious of the fact that this is happening because we don't care, because the imbalance that he's just highlighted, I just want to use from that, then we will not be able to elevate it. And we want to elevate this thing because we also believe that at the end of the day, it should not be like that.
Okay.
And if something should not be like that, steps and actions need to be taken. So we sit down and not take actions because it is already like that. What are we doing? It's now no longer the time for us to keep complaining. It's the time for us to take actions.
Okay, time to take action. I also think that anyone in charge to manage public credits is responsible and at the side of the ministry in charge of the superior state control. You mean supreme state control?
Yeah.
Yes. The role of the audit court is also indispensable here. Okay. Talking about the audit bench, they are answerable to the same people. For us to attain transparency, it takes integrity in leadership.
Absolutely.
We need leaders of value. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. Great topic you guys are handling. Transparency and accountability happens in nations with strong institutions. In our case, we have persons stronger than institutions. They dictate how institutions function. Take for instance the COVID gate. There would have been prompt investigations to avoid further losses, but don't be surprised it can drag for years with the individual still handling state funds. I hope your program will raise awareness and make our nation better. I vote for CDC Moliwe Credit Union. Samuel is writing from Diboncha. Good evening. Good evening, sir. My best credit union is Azeri Credit Union because they are trustworthy. I am Kum Judith from Boya. Thank you very much. Greetings. I vote for Bali Central Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Okay. I vote for Mbengwi Credit Union as the best. This vote for the best credit union. A viewer's choice for this week. Babcool is the best microfinance in Cameroon. Let's look at the overall impression people have on citizens' participation in the budget making process. Do you have the impression that people, Cameroonians at the municipal, regional, or national level have a say as far as constructing the budget is concerned?
Yes, they do have a say as...
Are they consulted?
They are consulted because I have participated in some consultation process as concerns need identification. We went into a few communities and identified projects and gave it at the level of the council, and there is this challenge. One of the challenges we faced is some of the quarter heads were saying that this is how they have been coming to identify needs. They identify needs last 3 years, last 2 years, last year, and nothing has been done in our community. I just wish to encourage them to continue identifying those needs. I just want to encourage them to continue participating, because most of them were discouraged to participate. We had to speak to them and speak to them and speak to them for them to actually participate in that need identification process, because they are discouraged. I just want to encourage them to participate, because the finances that the council do have is too small to carry out projects everywhere like in Boya, to meet the needs of everyone. It is not easy for them to meet the needs of everyone. So I just want to encourage them to continue in the identification of that need. One day that need will be met.
And yes. I would like to add that if our citizens need to realize that if you do not make an attempt to influence the status quo, you lose 100%. So sometimes it may take a longer time, it may take a longer process, but then you have to keep going at it. You have to keep insisting. You have to keep persisting. Once you fail to make an attempt, once you keep complaining and you don't take action to get involved in the decision-making process, it becomes difficult to bring forth a change. We never make a change by talking. We make a change by taking action.
Yes, talking about the impression of people, impression of the citizens as far as budget accountability is concerned, fiscal transparency is concerned, the impression is that budgets do not work for citizens. That's the pressure they have. And of course, they are disinterested because of their past experience. Because of their past experience, they have been participating. At some point, they have been invited, either by the councils, and when they wait for 1 year, they wait for 2 years, and they don't see significant change, they don't see, those projects, those programs that were promised not being realized. Of course, they get disinterested in activities that concerns local development. That's the impression they have, because they said the budget is just some kind of camouflage. Remember, when we talk about budget, it's not money. When we talk about budget, it's an estimated revenue, that on the expenses and how the government, or an institution or a body, plans within a specific period It could be for 1 month, it could be for 3 months, it could be for 1 year, it could be for 5 years, or like in the case of the council, it's 5 years. Now, because it doesn't work, because they are not touched by this budget. Remember, for this budget, once it is approved, once it is formulated, if they are involved at the level of the formulation, that means they are consulted, and these programs are prioritized by these community persons, by these grassroots persons, these marginalized communities, marginalized persons. Then it gets to the level of approval. At the level of approval, they are not directly involved. We have their representatives, who are councillors, at the local level, that represent them. Now it is being approved. They looked at it and ensured that it is a reflection of what was discussed at the grassroots level. Now, once it is approved, it is executed. This budget is executed. Remember, I said it's a plan. It's a forecast of what they want to achieve in a specific year. Now it is executed. Once it is executed, you must ensure that it is executed as per the term of reference.
Exactly.
Now, once it's executed, is that, or it doesn't end there, it needs to be evaluated. Now, you see that at each of this process in the budget cycle, the citizens need to be involved. Now, if they are not involved, it will not work for them. The budget will not. That's why this project comes in, saying the caption of our program is that making budget work for citizens. That's why I want to raise this awareness. It's about the citizens. It's about the local person, the grassroots person getting involved. Now, most of us, we are making it very, very cumbersome, very complex. Looking at it from the layman perspective, looking at it at the level of our development committees. Let's even leave, let's leave the government very far from it. Look at our development committees that are managing huge resources, you know, to foster development at the community. What are they doing? How transparent they are? How accountable they are? How often do they present what they received, you know, at the beginning of the year? Do they organize midterm, you know, review in order to present to this population what have come in as revenue and or collections, and how it has been served? What are the projects that have been realized? At the level of at the regional level or at the subdivisional level, do this program meet the needs, or is just kind of a politicized kind of program wherein, you know, it's about me, you know, living in a particular area, I want the road to pass through that area, of which the people of that community, they don't need the road as of that time. What they need is water. What they need is light, you know, for safety in that area. But because of some kind of one thing or the other, budget do not work for them. Of course, the result will be that they will be disinterested. They will not want to hear anything about local development, because even at the local development committees, the people who are in charge of managing the resources don't, don't present, the outcome of their programs to the local population. And as such, if we cannot do it at the household, at the local level, and we expect that the states, we expect that they are the ones to bring this transparency. Let's start it from the local. That's why we are targeting the local population, local government, and we believe that when all these are put together, it will build the level of transparency. We should also take note that our program is not only implemented by LUCMEF. This program is implemented by different organizations in different areas. We have Afro Leadership that's in the far north implemented the same program in order to boost up transparency. We have ADEGEL in the northwest and in the west region also implemented the same program. What's the idea? What's the idea behind the whole program we have? It's that we want that at the end of this year or at the end of this program, that after the evaluation, Cameroon should have a certain level of transparency. And, if we want to look at past reports, conducted by international organizations like Open Budget Review reports, it shows that among African countries that have been, diagnosed, that programs have been, Cameroon is like 28%, 28 out of 100, at the level of its transparency. Countries like Benin are even higher than Cameroon.
Okay. Good evening, Grand Frère. Trust God, all is well. I vote for Bali. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Gillian Nsu from Douala. My best credit union is Azeri Credit Union. Because of their good service, I vote for Bali Central Cooperative Credit Union as the best credit union. Ahmed Babu Sherif, I vote for Alukul as the best credit union in Cameroon. Je vote pour Bambo Credit Union. Je suis Isaac de France. Okay, good evening, Isaac. Blessed evening, sir. I vote for Bali Credit Union as the best credit union. I vote for, good evening, I vote for Bali Credit Union, the best credit union in Cameroon. Babcool is the best. I love their services as compared to other microfinance institutions. I vote for Bali Central Cooperative Credit Union. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. My best credit union is Azeri Cooperative Credit Union. Tokem Steph Rain. writing from Bekoko Douala. The population themselves, are they consulted? She says that there is a need assessment that is done. But do you really think that the population is consulted in constructing budgets both at the municipal, regional, and the national level?
Yes, I do believe that they are consulted.
How are they being consulted?
Well, there are several coalitions that exist.
Okay.
For instance, if syndicates, trade unions, and the like, we also have civil society organizations and also international organizations. For instance, let's use Transparency International, for instance, in Cameroon. But the question is at the level of implementing and integrating these things that come from these organizations. If these organizations release information about the needs of the citizens and how the government can better integrate their needs, the question is, to what extent does the government incorporate this in decision making? That is where the problem is.
Yes, I just want to say that yes, they are consulted partially. Let me use the word partially because we understand that it is a mandate, it's a responsibility of our councils, at the level of the formulation of the budget, they get the population involved. And how are they consulted?
But how are they really consulted?
Yeah.
Is it not also believed at the level of the council that maybe the municipal councillors live within the people and may carry the aspirations? But how effective is that?
Yes, like I said, how are they consulted? We have village to village consultation, which the council deploy their staff, to get to these communities, get to these villages, in order to identify the needs. And also consultation is at different level. At some point, depending on the resources that are available, they may decide to do the consultation through their representative or municipal councillors. And the municipal councillors, work with the traditional rulers, traditional leaders at the level of the community, which they bring together youth representative, they bring together women leaders, community group leaders. They come together, they understand their problems, they understand their needs. Therefore, these programs are being, in a consulted form, they decide what will meet the needs of the people. Now, it is a responsibility of their representative, who is, the councillor, that takes it up to the council during their council session and present these programs, this project, this budget to them. And now they work on it and prepare the budget. So this is how they are consulted. Now, like I said, the consultation, it's different formats, different ways, depending on the available resources, depending on the manpower as well, human resource available. We understand that most of our councils are facing a lot of challenge, which is at the level of human resource, technical capacity, and so on. It is their mandate, to conduct what we call a need assessment. A need assessment in order to understand, in order to come up with that a framework, a plan, a picture, what they want their municipality to look like in 5 years. And they may not have the capacity, they may not have the human resource to do that. What they do is they can employ the service of an organization like us, like other civil society organizations, to carry out this activity in the field. Now they consult and bring feedback, bring the data, the information, and which is used to develop the CDP. And that's the level of consultation, like I explained.
I also think that this is a call to action to opinion leaders and representatives of communities in decision making, that you do not assume on the needs of the citizens of your community. You have to do the proper needs assessment, and you have to decide, or you have to make recommendations based on informed decisions. So you don't just sit and assume and say, okay, this is what I see. No, you must get the popular opinion of the people, and you must also ensure that everyone is included. You don't sit with a small segment of people and then you just think, okay, because these few have said. You have to go right down to the lowest level possible, so that you ensure that everybody is integrated in that decision making.
Yes.
And
Just come in.
And I want to add something to it. They are equally consulted through a town hall meeting. But most of those town hall meetings, the population, they are not even aware that there is a town hall meeting. Like Boya had a town hall meeting last year. They had a town hall meeting. But the population that was there is a reflection that most people were not aware of the town hall meeting. It means they have to do enough sensitization for the population to participate, for those chiefs and quarter heads to participate, and even our councillors. And to me, the council should put some sort of a reporting mechanism that when those councillors, the chiefs, the quarter heads, they come and attend like the town hall, the BOD, they bring back the information of what was said in that meeting to the population, so that the population can be engaged in it. And before a town hall meeting, it's good to give that information to the especially the quarter heads and the chiefs, for them to do a proper need assessment with the population, and for them to equally present a report that we actually did a need assessment with our population. In this quarter we did this, and this is, if the council asks us that what do we actually need, this is the first need that we raise, that we actually need. So they should put in place that reporting mechanisms, that the chiefs and the quarter heads, they bring their reports to prove that a proper need assessment was done, pictures to prove that the population was actually called upon, maybe head of households were called upon, women leaders were called upon to actually identify those needs that we need in our community.
Okay, in our community, how can we force those who are supposed to respect or render account to us to do so? What are those means that the population?
I think we've said this one over and over. What are those means that we're supposed to force the people who are supposed to be accountable? We already generally said that the accountability is for everyone.
Yes, but what is the arm? I'm talking about ammunition that the population can use to force leadership to render account.
Now, you want to say something?
So I want to say they can use their councillors, because the law actually states that the councillors can decide on matters to which they can refer to the courts if what was anticipated to be done, or if there is this form of maybe this form of, let's say, this form of not following what was actually forecast to be carried out. So our councillors can decide not to even vote the budget. They have the right not to vote the budget. If it doesn't meet some certain criteria, they have the right not to vote the budget. So they can use that to actually put pressure. Because if they refuse to vote the budget, then the state representative will come in to know why they have refused to vote the budget. So they can use such a means to get the
but at that level, it's always very difficult to get these guys to not to vote the budget, because even at the level of the National Assembly, we see that it is practically impossible for these guys to oppose voting the budget, because the ministers and the government will have their way of twisting them.
Yes.
These guys, the mayor or the mayor and his deputies, may give them something, and then they vote. I'm talking about the population.
Yes.
Yes.
Just now, there are several channels through which they can, cause these persons in authority to be accountable.
Okay.
One of them is the social media. We need to make use of these social media platforms that are available to us in order to raise awareness, to raise alarm in a manner which is not to cause problem, but to raise an issue that will call this person authority into action. Because what happens at the with our social media handles, it flies like wildfire. When we make use of these gadgets available to us, it's going to go a long way to hold these persons accountable. Another thing is, you need to participate as a local person, as a citizen, you need to participate in programs, in meetings that are called. When you participate, it's an opportunity for you to raise concerns, to raise issues that does not tie with what was initially planned. And when you do that, it's going to go a long way to hold them responsible. Another thing is, we need to understand who are those persons that I'm to get close to, and to ask to raise my concerns, to raise my dissatisfaction in terms of how public funds are being used, how they are being spent, or the project or the programs that were approved do not meet standards. So we need to understand what are the channels which I'm saying we have several of them, but those that are very common, we should make use of them.
Another way is to engage those that are opposed to transparency, because let's say your councillor lives far away from his municipality. You would want to include him in running of your organization, for instance, or when it comes to when you're holding, for instance, general meetings or annual meetings. It's important to bring back those people. They should see the situation on ground as it is, so that when they're making decisions, it should be a call to their consciences to realize that, okay, we are not just talking in the air, but this is actually happening. Another way is you provide actionable information. When we are talking accountability, we are talking figures. It's not just for you to just see and when you speak in the air and you say government is not doing anything, and this councillor is seeing that this specifically is what the government is doing, it becomes difficult to convince them that there's a gap that needs to be filled. So you need to have your statistics clear. What is it that the government has done? What is there that he hasn't been able to do? And why do you think that the government should deviate from what it's doing and focus first of all on something else which is doing? Another thing is that citizens need to familiarize themselves with the laws, the legislations, the regulations that regulate or that talk about accountability, that talk about transparency. When you're ignorant of these things, you cannot be able to hold the councillor, because these persons who represent us in the government structures, they are well informed of these things. But then, if they know that you are not aware, they really don't feel the need to provide you the information that they should. So when you make yourself aware, then it's going to be possible. I also think that we have to add our voices as citizens to the work that international organizations, I keep calling Transparency International, are doing, because we need to work in sync. When these organizations come up, we need to support, we need to do our own research to verify what these organizations are saying, and then give our own support to it. If there's appears to be some distance between these organizations, the civil society and the community people, it also makes it difficult for these representatives of the communities to trust the information. But when it is clear that these persons are working together, they're working in sync, it becomes a lot easier to mount pressure. And like I mentioned earlier, we have forming of domestic coalitions, or syndicates and all the like. When you can have one mind and then you send somebody from the syndicate to represent you at the local government.
I vote for Bali Central Cooperative Credit Union. Bali is the best cooperative credit union in Cameroon. I vote for Bali Central Cooperative Credit Union. I vote for Bali Central Cooperative Credit Union. Okay, there are varieties of different ways fiscal transparency and budget accountability can be achieved: by proactive communication with citizens, town hall meetings, making a public meeting documents easily accessible, soliciting citizen feedback, and convenient services offered through digital. Okay, through digital. Great topic, Mr. Liu. Thank you. Look for interesting ideas. Chi Emerentia writing from Kumba. Mr. Liu, there is a lot to be done in the field of at the council. How many councillors are even literates? Most mayors go around themselves with hand clappers in the name of councillors. We really have a leadership problem. Okay, good evening to you. The problem we have in Cameroon is that we always address real concern to the wrong people. You recognize your elected officials as a civil society organization, yet you are not holding them accountable. You are expecting individuals to go ask questions and soon they are arrested, jailed, or killed. You as an organization write to these entities and make the letters public. Okay? Yes. This one says, I vote for Bali Cooperative Credit Union. Good evening, I vote for Bali Central Cooperative Credit Union. Wow. This evening, Bali. I vote for Aziri Cooperative Credit Union. I vote for Alu Cooperative Credit Union. I vote for Njindom Cooperative Credit Union. Now, what is the impact of fiscal transparency and budget accountability on local development? Ina.
Sorry?
What is the impact of fiscal transparency and budget accountability on local development?
Well, before I answer this question, I just want to say a very big thank you to all the viewers who have been sending messages to us concerning this project. And I think this is the aspect of the education that we want. This is one of the ways in which we as citizens can actually participate. They are getting their voices being heard, and we are all together fostering that accountability that we are all demanding for. And just to, I mean, I've been silent watching everyone talking, and I just, with the population also talking through the participation, and I just want to say that transparency in itself, it's a goal according to Article 19 of the Universal Human Law, which definitely must be emphasized. But at the same time, in our country, we will not refuse the fact that it is a new process. I just want to say, like, it's something that is new, that we are all struggling to enforce it. You know, so we are all struggling to make it come to reality, and it will definitely take the process. I won't deny that. It will actually take a long period of time for us to be familiarized. I'm talking both the local authorities that are involved and us, the citizens that are involved. It was definitely going to take a longer process, and that means there should be an aspect of patience in it. There should be an aspect of hope, and we cannot give up, because we are seeing that generally it has not been perfect. We are all together identifying the loopholes, and if no one takes the responsibility to stand up for what is right, or to ensure that these laws are there, they should be enforced, and the government is supposed to make transparent the budget and all public resources that are involved for our consumption. If no one takes the lead, then at the end of the day, we'll just be going round and round, and we just have disgruntled citizens who will just beat around the bush. We just hate ourselves, because when you're hating your nation, at the end of the day, one way or the other, you're living in it. So it's not about the surface area, it's about you as an individual. We call this nation is called because of the people that are in it. So if we go round and round and we do not appreciate the little effort that we can contribute or make to ensure that we have a better nation, then we will just say it's just a total waste of time. So that's why I'm applauding each and every one of us. We have to be patient to ensure this thing to come. Now, looking at the impact, if citizens are able to participate, I guess that's the question, right, Mr. Leo? Now, if citizens are going to participate, well, we're talking about an aspect of decision making here, that everyone's voice is being heard, no matter how small or no matter how little it is. And the question that was asked, how will people get responsible? And we talk about right at the grassroots level, and I want to ask a very conscious question, because I am particularly guilty. Now, if those say things, I mean, I've had a couple of times to work with the Ministry of Youth Affairs, and I mean, I ask, when they get organization, when they get opportunities, they talk about it, how many of the young persons move forward to be part of those things? Now, that is why I started by saying that we have to be patient with the process. You know that each and every one of us is guilty about it. Now, if you don't go there to make your decision heard, being made at that small tender level, you yourself don't take that accountability. You yourself don't stand to see what it is. You cannot stand from afar. You need to get into the boat, then you know how it's functioning. So if you stay at far and then you do not get there, why should you sit at the end of the day and complain? So talking about the impact, if everyone is able to be at the helm of decision making in your little way or wherever, I mean, it started with the school, it starts with back at home and all of that. If you are able to make that decision, you have to be on the table one way or the other. You feel that general satisfaction. You also live up to your fullest potential to see that you're also going to contribute into the development of your country. Now, if you also have the opportunity to get involved in transparency, in budget transparency, or being exposed to how budgets are being used, it gives you that sense of belongingness, the sense of ownership of the public resources that are being at our disposal, if finally it is being our taxes are being put in use, and then we actually see it becomes your own property. You own it. So we're going to talk about communities that are going to strive. We're going to talk about the economic growth that is going to economy is going to increase. We look at all of that, because if we look at economic growth and you see that this particular thing that the community, this public utility, I'll take something like tap, it's involved, it is yours because your money through taxes, directly or indirectly, is involved. You will own that thing and you will take good care of it, and you will ensure that at the end of the day it is well protected. And you make sure that it's well protected. But I want us to stay with the question I asked. It has really to do with the implications or the importance of this activity on local development. Now, if we render account, if we make everything very transparent and accountable, how does that impact on local development?
Its impact on local development is that it will bring more investors. When we are transparent, more investors will come to invest in our local communities, because they will be looking at our councils, which they are not transparent. They will just think that even if we give this project to those people, they are not still going to be transparent. It will be somehow. So it discourages investors to actually come in to invest in our communities.
To add to that, it improves the trust that the citizens have in the decision making of the government, and as a result, citizens take ownership. Like Inda mentioned, they feel that they own the resources, but not just that, they also take ownership of the decisions that the government takes. They feel like the government is giving us an adequate report of how our affairs are running, and so we can be able to trust that if the government says there's an increase in a certain tax, this is why it is justified and we can follow it. And to say the least, it leads to peace and stability. We've had incidents where people there's civil unrest because of high prices, high taxes, and the like. So that is one of the benefits. It helps to ensure that there is peace and stability, because, like I mentioned earlier, everyone feels integrated in the decision making, and there is that feeling that it is for the welfare of the nation.
Yes, but the fact that people trust their government and council, maybe at a regional or local level, does it also try to create harmony and makes the people to, like I said earlier on, to wanting to pay more taxes because they know that these taxes are put to good use?
Yes, of course. It builds a lot of confidence, a lot of trust, towards our government officials, towards our leaders, because we understand that they are doing the job. They are using public resources wisely and adequately for the betterment of its population. That's why we see that it is important. In fact, it is indispensable, to have the kind of development that we want to see at the local level. We need to be transparent. That's the importance of fiscal transparency and the importance of budget accountability, because it builds trust, and also it makes localization, resource localization, very, very pragmatic, because you understand that from the beginning you've planned that you have to carry out this project, this program within specific locations, and because you are transparent, because you know that you'll be held accountable to your words, to the decisions that was made at the at the holistic level, then you have to ensure that you meet to that to those promises, as it is stipulated, as it was planned from the beginning. Therefore, it will go a long way to build trust, and also to ensure that programs, projects, budget works for citizens, because those programs will get to persons that are intended for. We have minority groups, we have marginalized people, marginalized communities, persons living, with disabilities who don't have access to certain resources. But because we are accountable, we know that we need to get these resources available to all. Then you can ensure that they are going to, work together. They're going to get involved to ensure that development is a reality in our local communities.
And Mr. Liu, with regards to citizens being willing to pay higher taxes because there's accountability, I think it's a touchy topic because the government collects revenue based on its planned expenditure. Sometimes the government plans to collect more, sometimes the government plans to collect less. So it's not just about collecting. The government must not be collecting. There are times when the government could also step down the taxes according to the need that they have for a particular fiscal period. But then the long and short of it is that when there is accountability, it becomes a lot flexible for the citizens to abide with the decisions that come from the state.
Okay. How would inadequate transparency and budget accountability affect citizens' trust and participation in local development? Ina.
How will it affect? It's evident. Now, when there's no physical transparency, we had mentioned a lot of things that could happen. We're definitely not going to have holistically the local development that we want, because we are looking at the best way that citizens can get accountability for what is your budget is through your municipalities. And that means when we talk about your municipalities, then we're looking at local development. So definitely local development could be hampered. Now it's going to bring also to light disgruntled citizens, disgruntled locals, because at the end of the day, they feel like what they are contributing, your taxes are not put to use, the public resources is not meeting your needs. So at the end of the day, definitely it's going to give birth to disgruntled locals, disgruntled citizens. And when people are disgruntled, you do not expect them to do the right thing at the right time, So most especially, they would definitely do the wrong things, and which will not be in the public interest or to the interest of human development or to the interest of the growth of the nation. And that is how much distrust in the fiscal transparency and budget accountability can go as far as that. Now we'll not also end with that aspect. It also get to the aspect of the fact that decisions will not be properly handled. We already talked about we will not overemphasize the effects of poor governance, because when there is no fiscal transparency, when there is no budget accountability, that means there is an issue when it comes to the governance of the nation. And I think that is the biggest pain, to understand that the impact leads to poor governance, and with poor governance it means that generally development can never take place. So in other words, the impact, it's never failed.
Okay, that's all. Now, how do we encourage the government to ensure that it does accountability and transparency, and also imposes on other structures to make sure that it happens?
Like as outside the law, as per the 2019 law on the General Code of Regional and Local Authorities, it talks about creating neighborhood committees for preparation of the budget, for monitoring of the budget, for the execution of the budget. If that can be enforced at our neighborhoods, then I think it will somehow boost it.
We also have constant advocacy.
Absolutely.
So when we keep advocating, when we keep informing people about what they can do, increases the pressure on the government. And also when we also lobby the government, we through our different channels that we have to make them ensure that they include citizens in decision making.
I also want to talk about the aspect of proper documentation on the part of the citizens. So we had already mentioned that they are supposed to make public the budget of each municipality. I want to take it to the local level. Now, if these may be published at the end of the day, and then we do not, as citizens or media practitioners or whosoever find it interested, do not document this at the end of the day. If it is not documented, it, we cannot hold them accountable, because tomorrow we want to say that, okay, this X and Y was being presented to us, and at the end of the day, it was stipulated for a certain period of time, but now we are saying that it has not been done, and the information, normally we stated that it is the fiscal transparency is all about you doing these publications, and now if they know that, okay, yes, we are guilty about the fact that we haven't met our own part of the responsibility, and they bring down this stuff, how do you at the end of the day prove that it is done? So we also need to take on account the documentation. I also would not want to forget the aspect of the media, to know that the media also have a great role to play to ensure that there's fiscal transparency and budget accountability. Do we get a lot of topics that talk about it? As we are right here, this is one of the ways. How do we hold ourselves accountable? How do we hold the government accountable? By knowing what the law says, like Aguela mentioned, and then having programs that is tilted towards that, so that more persons get this awareness. We also look at aspect of like doing posters, like where TV, this most especially civil society organizations. We talk about posters, we talk about campaigns being held. I think I think last week in Boya there is this human rights commission that did a public show, the whole of Boya, announcing that it is your right for this not to be done and this and that. So these are public campaigns that need to be done regularly, and when the government sees that we the citizens are taking upon, when I talk about the citizens, I'm looking at everyone involved. It could be in the form of the CSOs, it could be in the form of other syndicate bodies or other trade unions, or all of that, taking that responsibility to carry out these campaigns. When we are doing it, what about it? Now, what about talking about theater performance? Now, our nation now is getting so much into filming and all of that. What if we start writing stories that are tilted towards what we are facing? Because I want to say that this should be one of the problems that we are facing, because it leads to poor governance, and we will not deny the fact that poor governance is one of the issues. If there's no budget accountability, there's no fiscal transparency, mean that it's leading to poor governance. What if we keep having theater performances on issues like that at the end of the day? So, and then you already mentioned of something of media, the social media. We know how much it's a great tool, and it gets across nations, it gets across the entire world. We can bring it all in a glass. So what about us as consciously making those steps on our social media, writing positive messages that also inform the government that we are aware? So I think those are some basic things that we want to do as individuals or as citizens to ensure that we hold the government accountable.
At local level, how do we get our local representatives, the mayors, the municipal councillors, the MPs who live amongst the people in their respective constituencies and municipalities to be more accountable? How do we prick them to develop that spirit, that culture of always wanting to render account?
Yes.
Is it by also threatening them that if you don't render account next time we are not voting for you?
That's considered an option, but at the end of the day, who voted first for them? Do we as citizens even go to vote for them?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, but if everybody mobilizes, I'm sure.
Yeah, the truth is, the way the system is made, it's not like the population at some point votes their municipal leaders. It's at the level of the municipal councillors that vote the leaders, and to hold them accountable, it's when you, as the citizens, you are sufficiently aware that it's your responsibility, to get to them and make them to understand that I know my right, I know my responsibility, and I know what you are to do. As in the position of leadership, you are to do this. You have to ensure that we have the basic utility, basic facilities for our well-being as citizens within your constituency. So therefore, to get this, it's by making use of all the mechanisms that are available. I think we mentioned it here. We've mentioned that here, that we have the social media, we have all the programs which, once these leaders understand that they have an active population who knows
their right,
who knows what are the responsibilities, what are their responsibilities as leaders vis-a-vis their population, then they will be on their seats. They will be on the seat in order to, give account, because they know that these persons, want to see at the end of their mandate, they have been able to realize what they plan to realize for its population.
A crucial factor here too is capacity building.
Okay.
So the government has the prerogative to educate representatives of their people on the responsibility that they have to carry out. Meanwhile, we have civil society organizations also have to educate them on what to do when the higher authority does not take into consideration the needs and the concerns of the people. So it has to come from both ways. It has to come from the government, and it also has to come from the civil society, so that they know what step to take in either case, where the government is cooperative or where the other organs of the government are cooperative, and also in an instance where they face resistance.
Okay, you guys are actually on ground working on this project. How is the population receiving this message when you get to them and engaging them to hold these guys to render account?
The population, some of them are not too concerned about it. Like, for example, when I asked one of the development officer, one of his challenges he faces in getting those people actually involved, he told me that most of them are too reluctant because they don't see any immediate benefits. I want the citizens to know that for development to actually come into our municipalities, we must give in our time, we must give in our finances for that development to actually come, because most of them are looking at what they will benefit. Like the challenges that one youth group had, whereby we gave them a task to go into the community and identify need. He told me that one of the Okada, because they invited Okada people together to identify a few needs, he said, the person said to him that I'll abandon my work for 3 hours to go and participate in need identification. That thing, how is it going to benefit me? How is it going to be of good to me? So most of them are looking much on immediate benefits.
Yes.
Okay. They're looking at what they'll benefit
Yes,
from.
what they'll benefit at that moment. If you say you give them money to come, they will come. But if there is no money, or the money that was given last time was too small, this time they will not come. They'll tell you that that day I can make 15,000 as my gain. So coming there to spend the whole day for development, no, I'm not part of it.
Yeah, but is this not also very surprising that we all want to see our leaders change? We want to put pressure on them. We want them to render account, yet we are not interested on issues of politics and development.
Yes, you really don't need to be so interested in issue about politics, but you can take the initiative. Like I said, it's about the mindset. It's about what you've had from the onset as your belief. That's why we are here, to have that deconstruction of the mindset about what we've been experiencing in the past and the kind of change we expect to see in the future. That's why I believe for you to see a positive change in the future, you have to take those actions today. And one of those is to get involved, participate. It's quite challenging to participate because there are a lot of sacrifices we have to make along the line, because at times you have to give in your time, resources, and sometimes some life opportunity that you have to let go, probably because you want to participate. And this is not feasible for a common person, a local man that goes to the farm, do some kind of odd jobs in order to raise money for the well-being of the family, little family, will not be able to be interested. But I think in terms of how they perceive the program, how they perceive what we are doing, remember this is this is still very new and very fresh, to Cameroonians. But we believe with time it's going to change, and that's why we need more of programs like this, more of people get engaged, to get our people, our citizens involved. Let's not look at it at the national level. Let's start at the local level. Let's start at the development at the local community level, how we can get involved in participating at all levels. So let's start from there. And now what we are doing now is to raise awareness. What we are doing now is to let our people know, let the population know that you can do this, you can participate. It is your right to participate on issues that concerns your local development, on issues that concerns the budget process. You have a role to play, and that's why we want to raise this awareness, and that's why we want to bring it to the limelight for people to get more and more informed. Because when you get to the population, in terms of what we've done so far, in terms of what we've been able to experience in other meetings we've participated, we've observed that many people are not aware. They don't know their response. But as things are unfolding and many more civil society organizations get involved in this development context, in order to get the people, to get the population involved, then you see that we can see changes. That's why we need to start somewhere, and that's where we are starting.
In addition, I would say that I would want my fellow citizens out there to realize that it is never too late to take a U-turn to the right direction. It took us time to be where we are today with a low level of accountability, and it's also definitely going to take us some time to be able to get to that level of accountability that we want, but we keep insisting. And that's why those of us in the civil society keep on highlighting the results, no matter how small, that we are achieving from the efforts from the programs, organizations like LUMEF, all the little impact we are creating. We keep highlighting it so that people can be able to believe that the change that we are looking for is in our hands, and if we take the little steps, we are going to be able to achieve it.
Okay, we hope that the change that we are looking for is in our hands. In that, certainly you have one last word for our televiewers.
Okay, of course I do. I just want to lay emphasis that truly budget accountability and fiscal transparency is virgin when it comes to our nation. So we should just be patient at it. We should be patient at it and take one step at a time. And I'm generally connecting to what he said. We cannot just fold our arms and just say that it's not working if we have not taking the responsibility. And I am loving the aspect that it is not all wasted, because we have seen the number of people who have contributed. That means it has been a general burden for each and everyone, for most persons. And this consciousness is we having this program is consciously reminding all of us to take up this responsibility. So it's not about giving up. We hope to keep bringing topics like this, so that in the confine of this project, because this is one of the ways that we also ensuring that at the end of the day, citizens do get the awareness of your responsibility towards taking leadership in budget affairs. So with all put in place, one step at a time, we're definitely going to get there. So no giving up.
You're not giving up, yeah.
I want to speak to those. I want to say a very big thank you to those that have been watching this program. The one thing I have to say is that those that have been participating and nothing comes out as result should keep on participating. Like for example, the people of Bangem, like for 5 years they were saying that they need road. They need road until road came to them. So just keep on participating and participating and participating. And those that are reluctant to participate, I want to say development is in our hands. We should all participate. We should not look so much on immediate needs. Our focus should not be so much on immediate needs, but we should equally look at the development of our nation. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. No, you.
Okay. Thank you once again, Mr. Leo. My last word to our televiewers out there is that you should never be worried about who is offended when you say the truth. Rather, you should be concerned about the people that are going to be misled, the people that are going to be deceived or even destroyed if you fail to say the truth.
Okay. Mr. Kelechi?
Yes, what I want to say is, firstly, I want to thank our televiewers, lovers of My Media Prime. We love you, and we are always there, and we'll always be there. And one thing we need to know is that change is something that comes gradually. You may not see the impact of what you are doing now, or how you are contributing to the development of your community or of your local municipality. But one thing you have to understand, that change will come. The kind of picture you have in your mind, you want to see in probably your kids, your children should not be the one to enjoy it, but we need to get engaged. We need to take the action now in order to bring the change we want to see.
We need to take action now in order to get see the change we want to see. Thank you for coming all the way from Boya. We are glad you came.
Yes.
That is
Anguela Benedicta Ma.
Yes, thank you for coming, Ma.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and also Inda, thank you for coming.
Thank you, and just to add that everyone that has watched should also spread the message loud. You know?
Okay, you have to spread the message. It is your responsibility. It is my responsibility to hold our leaders accountable for all the resources put at their disposal, because these resources belong to us.
Absolutely.
They are working for us. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure is mine.
Okay, and Kelechi, it was our honor to have you with us this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo. The honor is fine.
Okay, we are going to be taking a short break this evening. We're going to be bringing to you how people, the viewers, have voted for the best credit union of the week, Viewers' Choice. It is coming up very shortly. Welcome back. You're watching Prime on My Media Prime, and for this entire week we have been running a Viewers' Choice award for the best credit union in Cameroon. You people have been sending votes till now. The votes still come in their thousands, and we are going to be telling you what you voted for across the week as far as the credit unions are concerned. And as usual, Julien is going to be telling us how our viewers saw the week and their credit unions.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Leo. Good evening, televiewers. It's been an amazing week. We've been receiving thousands and thousands of votes for the best institution of the week, and we targeted credit unions in Cameroon. And Aziri is crowned the best credit union in Cameroon with over 2,000 votes out of about, let's say, 10,000 votes we received, because till now, like Mr. Leo has made mention, people still vote for their preferred credit union. And Aziri is equally recognized as a worldwide credit union, because we had viewers from in the diaspora, we had viewers from so many countries out of Cameroon, and they say that they can conveniently use Aziri Cooperative Credit Union in their country of base. The next credit union that we have crowned as the best credit union in Cameroon, but then would say that they are the best customer-friendly credit union, is Mitayen Cooperative Credit Union, or Mitakul. They closely follow Aziri Cooperative Credit Union with so many votes that has been recorded. We equally have Bamumbu Cooperative Credit Union. We've had so many votes for them, and they are crowned the fastest growing credit union in Cameroon, as well as customer friendly. We equally have Menka Green Valley Credit Union. They've been crowned the most trustworthy credit union in Cameroon, as voters keep saying that their money is safe with them. We equally have Tarinkon Cooperative Credit Union. They are crowned the best innovative credit union in Cameroon, as voters highlight that they have digital services and products that they love. We equally have Alu Cooperative Credit Union. They take home the award this evening for fastest growing credit union in Cameroon, as well as good customer service. And the last, we have Bamenda Police Credit Union. They are crowned the most reliable credit union in Cameroon. So you viewers, you've been given tons and tons of reasons why you voted for these credit unions, and let's not forget that over 50 credit unions were voted. But of course, we're always going to have the best, and these are some of the best that had so many votes. Mr.
So
Leo.
you are saying that our viewers voted for more than 50 credit unions,
in
and
Cameroon.
those you cited have had not less than 1,000 votes.
Not less than 1,000 votes each.
Yes, and we from your votes, Aziri comes first.
Aziri comes first.
Okay, they have the highest number of votes,
number.
and Mitaku.
Mitaku, then Bamumbu.
Bamumbu. Wow. Yes, strangely, I for one did not know of the existence of Bamumbu, and I did not know of the existence of Alu. I did not know of the existence of, there is a Menka Green Valley, and Kilaiki, and Kitiwum, all those, Baile.
Alamankon Cooperative.
Yes, but this evening also, we received many votes for Bali, Central Cooperative Credit Union. And with us this evening, we have members of the Bamboo Credit Union. Mr. Edwin Dachonji Boche is with us here. Mr. Boche, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Leo.
Okay, and also with you, Mr. Fonju Thomas. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Leo.
Okay, we are glad to have had you with us this evening, and we just to note that you have been voted by so many persons. Can she put something on, or you think it's going to work like that? Okay, just sit. Come in. Okay. Okay. Can you just come in? And like, can we check on whether it works since it is green on green? And like, can I see her on screen, please? Okay, you will need to add something on you. You need to add something on you, and then you come back. Just you get suits from my office, yeah. So we are going to start with you guys, Mr. Edwin Tacho G. Yes, this is okay. Yes, this is for Bamumbu. I don't know who I'm handing it to. Is it to Mr. the Butcher? Okay. So this is for Bamumbu, fastest growing and reliable credit union. Bamumbu as decided by our televiewers.
Well, it's such a pleasure.
Yes, just have a seat. Sit down, sit down. Yes.
It's a pleasure for us as a fast-growing credit union. We are barely 5 months old, and we are running a customership of about 1,000 members already. And I want to thank my Media Prime for organizing such an occasion for us to showcase actually what we are able to do, and also to thank our customers for voting for us, the confidence they have for us, to be able to tell the world that we are there, and we are not competing with any other credit union. We want to top the credit union chart in Cameroon.
Okay.
And why not out of Cameroon?
Okay. Mr. No, I hope that you people are going to meet the aspirations of those who have voted for you.
Yes, for sure, Mr. Liu. You know, Bamboo Credit Union is we call it a newborn baby, and Bamboo Credit Union is people choice, and Bamboo Credit Union is a community credit union. Then you can imagine how fast it's growing.
Okay. We want to thank you all coming all the way from Boya to receive this, and we will be joining you very shortly. You just wait for us while we receive the other persons who are here for the same exercise. But before they come, you can go over what the statistics. Yes.
All right, so like I said, we were doing Institution of the Week on Prime Hour for Best Credit Union, and Aziri is crowned the best credit union in Cameroon with over 2,000 votes out of about 10,000 that we recorded so far from Monday right up to this day, Friday. And you know, Aziri is equally crowned as the worldwide recognized credit union, as we had voters from out of Cameroon that say they can conveniently use Aziri Cooperative Credit Union in their country of base. Equally, Mitayen closely follows Aziri Cooperative Credit Union with over 1,000 votes recorded, and we had remarks that they have the best customer service in Cameroon, as well as you know, they have they are customer friendly. And Tarikon equally is the most innovative credit union in Cameroon, as voters highlight they love their digital services and products. And so it's good enough we have Aziri here, Mr. Leo, to receive the award as best credit union in Cameroon.
Okay. They are here. We are here with Mr. Malake Thibault, who is here and who is going to be receiving this as best and worldwide recognized credit union in Cameroon, going by our viewers' choice. You receive it on behalf of the management of Aziri. And no, just sit down, and you can show it to the audience. Yes, yes. So it is. You guys received. Yes, just put it down. Thank you. Yes, you received this vote from our viewers, and mostly from out of the country. That is why we take it worldwide recognized credit union. We hope that you're going to live up to the expectations of your clients.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Leo, for this marvelous award to Aziri Cooperative Credit Union. It is really a privilege for me and the entire team, working team of Aziri Credit Union, that you graded us up to this level.
We did not. It is
the viewers.
The viewers,
our viewers.
Crazy votes
our
for
viewers.
Aziri Credit Union.
I want to believe that those viewers are actually our members, because the services that we offer in Aziri these days are really, really modern. And they had themselves to testify that we are really the best cooperative credit union. With this one here, you will see, I don't know the criterion that our members judged us to have arrived at this point, but I think that we are up to the task. Being one of the first credit unions among the many credit unions that we have had this leading position for over the years. And our membership is skyrocketing. As now that we are talking as of the statistics of last financial year, we have a membership of about 54,000 and more, and we are soon covering the national territory. So we really have to appreciate our viewers that they have to recognize the services that we offer in Aziri this time around. And I think that we have to do more in order to keep them, or in order to keep our position in the market of the credit unions.
Okay, Madam Gu, we are glad to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Certainly, one word for those who have voted for you this evening.
Good evening, sir.
And maybe a word from management.
Can I have the award, please?
Oh, my manager, it is there.
On behalf of the President of Board of Directors of Aziri Cooperative Credit Union, the management and staff of Aziri Cooperative Credit Union, I am humbled and honored to be representing Aziri Cooperative Credit Union today for this distinguished award. To our members out there, we want to thank you for taking the ownership and pride in giving this to Aziri Cooperative Credit Union. We give it all to you, and we want to promise that we just want to assure and reassure you that we'll work tirelessly to satisfy your needs. We are grateful. Thank you people so much. Aziko!
Gateway to progress.
Okay, we want to thank you for coming to receive this from us, and can you just go through this?
Okay. All right. So the votes started on Monday, and since Monday we've had over 10,000 votes for over 50 credit unions in Cameroon. We receive new entries every day. We had Alamankon Credit Union, Bengui Central, Memdiba Credit Union, Lobe Cooperative, Kitiwum Credit Union, Itwi Credit Cooperative Credit Union, Guzang, Bayele, Banso, Oshe, Kumbo, Chomba, Bamenda Police Credit Union. There were many, and some names that I can't even pronounce, and there were so many, and yet Aziri came out strong. So many voters pouring in their votes for Aziri Cooperative Credit Union. But let's not forget Mitayen, who is closely followed by Tarinkon Credit Union. They are crowned the best innovative credit union in Cameroon, as customers say they love their digital products and services. Menka Green Valley too received remarkable votes from you, the televiewers, and they are crowned the most trustworthy credit union in Cameroon. As viewers say, their money is safe with them, yeah? And equally, we have Alu Cooperative Credit Union that takes home this evening the credit union for fastest growing, and of course, with a record of good customer service. Bamumbo, whom have already received the award, is equally a fastest growing credit union in Cameroon. And then Bamenda Police, like I said, most reliable credit union in Cameroon. So there were so many others that have been voted, but of course these credit unions we've mentioned here received more of the votes.
Okay, we want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you too.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Leo.
Yes, we are also grateful to have received the guys of Bamboo Credit Union with us in the studio here, and I'm sure Alu and the other persons we're going to reach out to you to hand your award to you. We want to thank the guys of Luke Mef who started this edition of the program. Thank you all for watching. We wish you a great weekend. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye.